Welcome to the family of knowledge world. Um, in the last lecture, we discussed the Government of India Act 1858 and its provisions. So that was the last lecture of the first part of Indian Constitution. Now we will discuss the second part of the evolution of Indian Constitution, that is right from the Indian Councils Act of 1858 till the formation of Constituent Assembly in 1946. So, and then right till the enactment of our Constitution. So all those things we'll discuss, but in the first lecture we will discuss regarding the Indian Councils Act of 1861. So in the previous lectures, the pattern of the discussion will be like how it was in the previous lectures. First, what is that act? Second, historical background. Then the provisions of the act, shortcomings of the act, the provisions of the act, the importance of the act, the shortcomings of the act, and important facts. So the Indian Councils Act 1861. This is the act that was passed by the British Parliament to include Indians in the representation. Okay, and also this act also recognized the portfolio system. Okay, it was passed in August 1861. The historical background of the act. Okay, so as we discussed, the Government of India Act 1858, we discussed in length in the previous lecture. Okay, the act was passed for India in England. Okay, understand carefully. The act was passed for India in England, but it was run through England. Nothing was mentioned for India, nothing was mentioned related to Indian affairs, nothing was mentioned about the governance of India, that how India will run. Only it was mentioned regarding Viceroy and Council, but nothing brief was mentioned. So what happened? Due to the flaws of the Government of India Act 1858, the Indian Councils Act was passed. Okay. So Indian Councils Act was passed. And second important background is, so we know what happened in 1857 revolt. There was a mutiny and it was put down, but in England the Britishers began to feel that in order to rule India, it's very important that even Indians should be involved in the law making process. Okay, that was the need which was felt. So due to all these reasons, the Government of India Act 1861 was passed. Okay, now the provisions of the act. Okay, the first provision is the Viceroy's Executive Council would have 5 members. Okay, previously it was 4, but now it was 5. This would be on the basis of portfolios. For example, each member of the Viceroy's Executive Council would head one or more departments such as home, military, etc. Okay. Second provision, the Viceroy's Legislative Council was enlarged from additional 6 to 12 members. Okay. Half of its members would be non-officials, and in these non-officials there would be Indians as well as British. Okay, it mentioned that there would be Indian, means apart from British, Indian natives also would be appointed to the council. Okay, the term of the council would be for 2 years. The term of the council, Legislative Council, would be for 2 years. Okay, except finance, they could discuss other issues, other subjects, except finance, they could discuss other subjects. Okay. Third provision, an important provision, the act also recognized the power to make new presidencies and new legislative councils. Okay, so this act recognized that for new provinces, new legislative council would be created under the lieutenant governor. Okay, and another provision, Bombay and Madras Presidency Legislative Council would be restored. Okay, legislative powers of Bombay and Madras Presidency would be restored. As we studied in the Charter Act of 1833, that the legislative powers of Bombay and Madras Presidency were taken away, but this act again gave back the legislative powers of Bombay and Madras Presidency. Okay, and the act also provided ordinances. It spoke about ordinances. Okay, ordinances could be issued by the Viceroy. Okay, ordinances could be issued by the Viceroy in case of emergency. Okay, ordinances, so we can say, the system of ordinance has come from this act itself. Okay, now the ordinances are issued when the parliament is not in session. It is issued by the president in the center or by the governor in the states. Okay, bills related to foreign affairs, religion, etc. needed Viceroy's prior sanction to be introduced in the legislature. Okay, so bills which are very important, such as foreign related affairs or religion related affairs or military, before Viceroy would sanction it, until and unless it would not be introduced in the legislature. Let's see, for example, you need to have a debate related to a particular religion, or you need to adopt some reforms, but this would not happen unless and until the Viceroy approves it. The Viceroy gives his prior sanction. Okay, then any bill which is passed by the Viceroy's Legislative Council could be vetoed by the Secretary of State. Okay, so we spoke about the Secretary of State in the previous lecture, who would administer the Indian affairs through his council. Okay, he would be the channel between Viceroy and the British government. So if he felt that the bill is not in the British interest or not in the interest of the government or any issue, he could veto the bill. Okay. Okay. So now we will go about the importance of the act. Okay. The first and foremost important of the act is Indians were given the place in the legislature. Okay. Now Indians had the say in legislature. This was the first time in the British India, in their history, that Indians were given the place in Viceroy's Legislative Council. Okay. Second importance of the act is the system of portfolio. Okay. The system of portfolio was adopted, and this system of portfolio is one which came due to the Indian Councils Act, and this was adopted by Lord Canning in 1859. Okay, this is the basis for the ministries which we have today. The the ministries, for example, finance minister, he or she heads the finance department, home minister heads the home department. So this is the basis. The portfolio system of Indian Council Act is the basis of ministries which we have today. Okay. And the system of ordinance also, we can trace the roots of the ordinance from this act. Okay. The defects of the act. The first and most important is the legislative council was only the advisory body. It had no actual powers. Okay. And Indians were not allowed to vote. Okay. Indians were not allowed to vote in this. And most of the bills was just passed in first sitting. Okay. Second defect of the act is, one second. Yes, the ordinance power which was with the governor gave him absolute power. He could promulgate any ordinance related to any subject. No one could question him. Okay. Important facts. Due to Indian Council Acts, the three members, Indian Councils Act of 1861, the three members was nominated to Viceroy's Legislative Council. Okay. So the Raja of Banaras, the Raja of Patiala, and one minute. The new legislative councils were created. For example, Bengal in 1862, Northwest Frontier in 1886, Punjab and Burma in 1897. So friends, we have come to the end of the lecture. If you have any doubts, please like my channel, and also if you have any doubt, please comment and tell your doubts. I'll definitely respond.